Hello there, people. Hello to all my fellow veterans and their families out there. I am back. Yes, I am back. So let's go ahead and let's get this show on the road, shall we? All right. As you can see, there's a few little changes made. The podcast itself is no longer called the Gulf War Advocate, is now called Veteran Central. It is presented by a brand new nonprofit, which is called Veterans Assurance Network. Assurance, which is a promise. Network is to connect veterans and their families with all their benefits and aid that's out there available to them. And also, it's a promise to continue advocating for them. There will be groups coming on future episodes to discuss the advocacy part. There will be other nonprofits and other organizations that help veterans and their families will be coming on. And to begin that off, actually, next week we're going to have Matt Eck from the Cleveland Cavaliers and two gentlemen, Edwin and Mitch, from an organization called Rid All. They teach veterans how to urban farm. That's right. How to farm your own food in the city. And they also help veterans deal with their PST through teaching them how to garden and farm. So they have their third annual resource fair coming up on Armed Services Day, which is the 20th of May. And we'll have those three gentlemen on. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and show this here right now for you. I know this one here says NAACP. They are one of the sponsors of this resource fair. But it's Saturday it's actually starting at 11 as far as the resource fair goes. The Cleveland Cavaliers are going to hold a basketball clinic starting at 9 a.m. No, 10 a.m. Yoga session starts at 9. 11, they are going to have a ceremony pinning Vietnam veterans. They are going to be recognizing Vietnam veterans this year. So if you are a Vietnam veteran, you can see the address below with the phone number. If you call that phone number, they can get you hooked up if you want to be part of that ceremony. And oh wow, I got two cameras now too. Whoa, I'm moving up in the world, people. Oh, also the chat is open tonight as well, like we had before. So if you got questions about any issues relating to veterans or their families, please ask them, and I'll do my best to go ahead and answer them. And now, also at this resource fair, there will be a lot of different organizations that help veterans and their communities at this fair, and you can learn how to get involved and help veterans out in the Cleveland area. And as I mentioned too, we'll continue to advocate, and we're advocating for a few bills actually now. First one is the Barbosa Act. And the Barbosa Act is basically for active duty members. The DOD is very strict on a rule that you have to be 45 years of age if you are on active duty before you can get a colonoscopy. And while we were advocating for the PACT Act, we found out that a lot of active duty members, young active duty members, men and women in their 20s and 30s, are coming down with colon cancer. And by the time that it is discovered that they have colon cancer, it's already at stage 4. So that's what this act is for, is to get these active duty members um, the care that they need. Get them those colonoscopies, get them those screenings to keep them from getting stage 4 colon cancer. Colon cancer is one of the easiest to detect, one of the easiest to cure if you find it fast enough. So this act is to um, help them get colon screenings a lot earlier. One, it's going to save their lives. 2, it's going to save their careers, their military careers. 3, it's going to save DOD a whole hell of a lot of money. You know, keep them healthy. It's going to save them a lot of money. So this act should go ahead and get passed. Another bill that we are advocating for, and we hope passes here very soon, is the Major Richard Starr Act. For those of you who are medically retired and filed a claim with the VA and it got approved, you know that your retirement check gets docked on however much your compensation from the VA is. Congress says that's double dipping into a retirement system. I say that's bullshit. I say, hey, you earned your retirement. Little did you know you were going to get injured or sick. Government has the responsibility to make sure you're taken care of. So they should not be docking your retirement pay if you were medically retired. You should be able to earn your full retirement check and your full compensation. So we are actively calling senators and congressmen to make sure that this bill gets passed here very soon as well. Now, on a side note on that, had a meeting with Senator Gillibrand's office, and they took quite an interest in the Major Richard Starr Act when I had mentioned that a lot of Gulf War veterans, those of us who served in Desert Storm, were offered an early out by the Clinton administration. If you took that so-called contract buyout, you got a one lump sum check when you separate it. You still got your honorable discharge. They said your contract was fulfilled in full, and they gave you a one lump sum and for getting out early because they want to downsize the military for one reason or another. Now, as you know, a lot of us from the Gulf War are sick. Some call it Gulf War syndrome, some call it Gulf War illness. Some of it just plain say, hey, it was burn pits and oil well fires that made me sick. So you're filing under the PACT Act, you're getting claims approved. And good old DOD says, hey, remember when you took that one lump sum to get out? We want that back before you get your compensation. So Senator Gillibrand's office went to the Senate Veterans Affairs office, or committee's office, and says, hey, what can we do for these Gulf War veterans? Because this isn't right either. They fulfilled their contract. They fulfilled their oath. Why are we making them pay that money back? Well, the leaders of the Veterans Affairs Committee got back to me and Senator Gillibrand and says, hey, you're right. They shouldn't have to pay that back. But let's not put an amendment to the Major Richard Starr Act because that definitely has to pass. We that's got to go as is. But let's work on a separate standalone bill so these men and women don't have to pay that back anymore. So we are working on that. So if you're a Gulf War veteran, some of you seen me posted on Facebook that I'm looking for people to get stories up to build up a group so we can start holding sessions with senators and congressmen so they can actually hear how it affects us by having to pay that back. You can contact me. Let's see if I have this up here. You can contact me at this email here. And let's put up another one here. I learned how to spell my name right. Oh, this is the email I want everybody to. This one right here. Email me at this one. I'll see it much faster and get back to you a lot quicker. Many of you have already private messaged me on Facebook and stuff and are willing to help out. You've told me your stories. It's all the same. We're all in this together, so our stories are very similar, if not exactly the same, but they're very similar. So this is what we need to do. We need to form as a group, and we need to start calling our senators and congressmen, asking to do Zoom meetings with their legislative and their Veterans Affairs representatives. And once we get that going, I'm pretty sure in no time we'll get a bill written up and get us to not have to pay that bonus back. Now, another group that I am currently helping, and this one is kind of odd how it began. I had gotten a phone call, not a phone call. I had gotten an email from an individual who lives in the town that I grew up in. And she wanted to let me know that she was supporting me as I advocated for the PACT Act and thought it was fantastic, especially coming from the same town. And she would send me newspaper articles and stuff about what was going on and stuff like that as far as the bill went. And me and a few other advocates, three of my friends, decided to write a book. So she bought the book and she was reading it, and then all of a sudden she said, "Tim, I think there's somebody that you can help." So she contacted that individual, gave him my contact info, and he contacted me. There are a group of Air Force veterans that were stationed out in Nevada, stationed at the nuclear testing range out there. If anybody knows anything about that, the DoD is not going to recognize them. They are considered to be what's called data masked. Data mask means you don't exist in the DoD system, which means you cannot get health care through the VA. Now, the civilians out there that, that were stationed out there are all getting free health care through the DOD. So I think the gaslighting of American veterans and their families needs to end. And I think this is the group that's going to get that well underway. We thought that was going to happen with the PACT Act, but it's not. Um, so if anybody out there wants to help these fine veterans and their families get the recognition and the health care that they need, because here's the thing, folks. Here's the thing. 100%. Remember that number. 100% of all military personnel and civilian personnel that were stationed out there are all either sick or have died. 100%. And they can't get health care through the VA. Ain't that a kicker? So there is a congressman in Nevada, Congressman Amoti. Do believe I pronounced that correct. Amoti or Amoti is writing the bill as we speak. Once that bill is written, and I know it's written, we're going to have that group of veterans come on. You're going to listen to their stories. And I definitely want people to watch that episode live, get in the chat, ask them questions, show them your support. Because, man, I cannot believe that veterans that were honorably discharged cannot get health care through the VA because the DOD says no. So, now if you happen to watch this at a later time, you can see the email there in the screen. I'll also put that email in the description on YouTube, because we'll be going on YouTube later on tonight. We'll also be going on to other platforms. I believe we'll be going on to Apple and Spotify and Google. Then we'll see what other ones from there. But as you can see, there were some changes made. I am the Golf War Advocate, not the podcast. The podcast is now called Veteran Central. And the reason we're doing that is because we were only getting a few Golf War veterans watching before. This show is for all veterans. Not just veterans, but their families. And actually, some of the people that'll be coming on later on, because we're going to have a company come on with talk about some new medical technology that they developed. Not only will that help veterans and their families, but that's going to help every single American out there. Once it takes on in America, it's going to help everybody in this world. This technology is fantastic. So that company's called 4D Technology. We're going to have the CEO and a few of the representatives come on, have them explain everything to you. Also, what I like to do is every now and then we'll have I think what we'll do is probably call it like coffee hour or something like that. And we'll just have veterans from various age groups come on and discuss what bothers them, what issues they feel strongly about. and we'll just have open discussion like that. If that's something you would like to participate in, hey, let's see if I can do this. There it is, right there. Right there's the email you want to contact so you can get on. And because I think it's important. America needs to know what issues are actually bothering veterans. Is it because the VA isn't taking care of us the way it should? Is it politicians using us as photo ops instead of actually trying to do something for us? Now we showed the ones that were very adamant about definitely helping veterans, very sincere helping veterans during the PACT Act. Um, Now, not only are we going to discuss national or federal legislation, but state as well. Of course, my friend David Root from the VFW here in Ohio, he'll come on it periodically and we'll discuss what's going on in the state of Ohio. But I'm looking for people from all 50 states. Let's get them onto the show so people in every state can know what's going on in their state. If you're from Alaska, hey, let's get somebody from Alaska to discuss state legislation for veterans or what the state does for veterans in the state of Alaska or Montana or Arkansas, Florida. Come on. Come on, people. If you advocate for veterans legislation in your state, contact me. Let's get you on the show. And let's talk about what's happening in your state so all your brothers and sisters in the state can know what's going on. That's what I want this show to be. 100% informative, 100% educational, 100% supportive. Some of the subjects we'll talk about could be disturbing, but it's something that y'all need to know about. You know, it's something I'm passionate about. And I hope you are too. Because this show's for you. So if you want this show to be successful, if you want this show to be what I'm hoping it to be, the informative, the educational, the supportive, then I'm going to ask you to get involved. Find people at Veterans Assurance Network are starting to get involved. Now, what they do, part of what they do, is they network with other nonprofits. So let me do it this way. How many of you veterans or family members of veterans went to a nonprofit looking for help and they told you, I'm sorry, we don't offer support or aid like that, but become a member and help us help the veterans that do need aid like this? Then they don't tell you who does offer the type of help that you need. And it doesn't even need to be one that asks you to become a member. People at Veterans Assurance Network, they're not going to ask you to be a member. Their service is going to be 100% free for veterans and their families. But what they're going to do is they're going to take away the ability of that nonprofit to tell you, sorry, we can't help you. Don't know who, then not tell you who to go to, but ask you to become a member or to donate to help the veterans that they do help. we're gonna probably ask. They're probably gonna ask some questions about your situation. They're gonna put that into a database. Database is gonna come back and say, "Hey, these organizations are the ones that that offer help than what they're looking for." We're not only going to tell you about those organizations, but we're going to help you get in contact with them, help you get the paperwork filled out, whatever that organization requires, and see if they can't get you into their system. If that one rejects or says no, hey, we got other ones, and we will continue to stay with you until you get the aid you need. And when I say we, I mean the people at Veterans Insurance Network. So, not only are they going to do that, but we're also going to, like I said, they're also going to advocate for um, veterans legislation, not only on the federal level, but on the state level as well. Because there's problems that happen in your state that the federal government is not going to be able to help you with. So it's important to know what's going on in your backyard as well. Front yards, everybody knows. You see it on the news. But what happens in the backyard, what happens in your state, normally doesn't reach you through the media. So that's what we're planning on doing too. So, like I said, if you are a VFW or American Legion rep that handles state legislation for the state you're in, contact me so we can get you on the show. Now I don't see many people around. Nobody's typing in any questions or comments or anything, but hey, that's the way it goes. I know it's short notice that I'm coming back on live, but I'm here. Now, the good people at Veterans Insurance Network, they're based in Twinsburg, Ohio, but they will help veterans throughout the country. So, any of you Twinsburg, Ohio people out there, shoot me a line. Let me know that you're listening. Let me know that you're willing to help your veterans out, because I know you folks in Twinsburg, Ohio, sure do take pride in your veterans. You show it every Memorial Day parade. Fortunately, I won't be in that one this year. I'll be in Washington, D.C. And I was asked by a lady if I wanted to be in that parade in D.C. And well, I said, of course. I like going to D.C. D.C. is a fun state. That's, well, fun district. Let's put it that way. And fun city. Food's expensive, but hey, the rest of the city rocks. And matter of fact, I think what we'll do for that week, Memorial Day week, shortly after that Wednesday, because we're going to be on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I think what we'll do is we'll show videos and everything of the parade and stuff like that. Instead of have a guest, well, maybe we'll get a guest on. Maybe we'll have a couple of the people that marched in the parade as well. Come on, we'll see. Hopefully, we can find a few parade marchers. Hopefully, because I'll be with them. So, but hey, Gulf War veterans, please contact me if you had to pay that separation bonus back, because we definitely want to get that taken care of. The way the system is set up is not veteran friendly, as a lot of people know. A lot of people until we started advocating for the PACT Act, didn't even know that the VA is not free to veterans until they reach a certain level of service connection or are so poor they're destitute. Then you get free health care. But once you get back on your feet and you get a job, then hey, you got to start paying until you get a certain level of service connection. But now that all America knows that, hopefully they can help us get some stuff changed. They can also, you know, call their elected officials and say, hey, this country needs to do a better job of taking care of their veterans. So keep posted. We'll let you know what issues come up, what issues that we want everybody to call senators and congressmen about. I feel everybody should get involved in one way or another. If you're not helping out veterans nonprofits, then learn about legislation that's going on in your state or the federal level and call your elected officials and say, hey, we feel this bill should get passed or this bill should not. And see, like in the state of Ohio, I don't know what the outcome of the vote is yet, but they were voting on HJR 1 tonight. And what that is the state Senate requiring 60% approval before a bill can pass, just like in the federal Senate. So, hey, leave it as it is at 50%. The majority. Leave it at the majority. Don't keep adding on and on, man. Then state of Ohio had another bill too. We'll have David Root on here soon, and he'll go over this more in depth. But there's a bill that was introduced about requirements in order to file an asbestos claim. Estimates were, I believe, 95% of all asbestos claims in the state of Ohio are from veterans. We already know how hard it is for a veteran to get a claim approved through the VA. You have to prove everything. You got to send all kinds of documentation, photographs, doctors, notes, everything. The state of Ohio is requiring that same, wants to require that same level of burden of proof for asbestos claims as well. Veterans have already gone through hell to show the federal government, hey, I was affected by asbestos on your base. Now the state of Ohio is saying, hey, you got to show that all over again before you can sue the people that put the asbestos there to begin with. So hopefully that one fails. There's a few others, but like I said, we'll have my good friend David Root on soon, and he'll go over all that. If there's any issues out there that I am missing that I should know about and you feel should be discussed on here, email me. Come on, people. I already pointed to where that email is. Email me. Let me know what we should be discussing. Let me know how you feel. It doesn't need to be about legislation. It doesn't need to be about any bill. It doesn't. It could be, hey, look, my state doesn't offer veterans court like the state of Ohio does. If anybody doesn't know what veterans court is, it's, let's say you get in, a veteran gets a DUI or petty theft or something minor. Well, not that DUI is minor. DUI, man, you could have killed somebody. Same with petty theft. It veterans court in the state of Ohio is to help get veterans back on track and get them out of the life of crime. It seems to be working. I'm learning more about it. I hope to have a representative from the Veterans Court based in Cleveland here soon. Because, folks, I'm based out of Cleveland area. That's why I'm going to have quite a few folks from the Cleveland area on. And they're also helping Veterans Insurance Network get on their feet here and get going, since it is a brand new nonprofit. So there's a lot of people that are very interested to make sure that it succeeds, because they know it's going to help veterans more. So, and in return, Veterans Insurance Network is going to bring them on to Veterans Central, my podcast, and we're going to help them that way. We're going to get them the awareness out there. Let the people know, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we're helping veterans. Not only veterans, helping veterans' families. Now we all have people from various organizations on to help the widows of fallen veterans. We're going to have representatives from the VA. They've already gotten their approval. We just got to work out times and dates. Well, they already know, hey, it's going to be a Wednesday at 7 p.m. But, they got to make sure that their home front's taken care of. Then they'll come on and tell us what they do at the VA and how it's helping veterans. Because I don't know if it's in every state. I sure hope it does. Hope it is. But here in Ohio, we've got what's called vet centers popping up all over the state. I was at my VFW meeting last night. Yeah, I'm a life member of the VFW. But hey, they helped me get my claim approved. Yes, they did. Now, I'm not promoting the VFW, because the VFW is not for everybody. One, you had to serve in a war. Two, even if you served in a war, the VFW might not be for you. You might not like stuff like that. But I'll have representatives from American Legion. I'll have representatives from the VFW, AMVETS on as well. But let me get back to this vet center. VETCNTER, vet center. One word. And they're small little buildings. One popped up just a couple of miles from here, just on the outskirts of Bedford, Ohio. Right across the street from Sam's Club there, folks, right there near Bedford. You know where it is. One of the representatives came on to our VFW meeting last night, And he explained what vet centers are in the state of Ohio. What it is they offer counseling. You don't have to have PSTD. You don't have to have, if you just need someone to talk to, they're there. You can just walk in. They have counselors available. Now, something tells me not too far down the road, they're going to become very popular. So you might need to make an appointment. But right now, I believe it's walk-ins. They accept walk-ins. If you're just feeling down, just need to talk to somebody, there you go. And it's not just for veterans. It's for your family members too. Unlike at the main VA. Now, these vet centers are the VA, but they operate under a different set of rules. Unlike going to the main hospital at the VA, to mental health there, it's only for the veteran. There's nothing for your spouse or your kids. Vet centers has them. As long as it's tied to a military issue, your spouse and your kids can get counseling at vet centers. Now, hopefully when they come on here real soon, they'll be able to explain if it's throughout the whole country or not. I hope it is, because I think this is a fantastic concept. I wish they had this 2 years ago. I'll admit, I get counseling. Helps me. I'm not too proud to where I'm going to deny it. I'm going to tell the world, yes, I get counseling. And that's what I hope my brothers and sisters, yes, you, my fellow veterans, can do one day too. Mental health counseling is not a bad thing. Yeah, I know there's a stigma attached to it, especially to veterans, that if you go to mental health, you're wacko. Well, guess what? You're not. Just get your butts into those vet centers and get the counseling. Now, for the veteran, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be military related to walk in there and get counseling. You can just say, hey, look, I stubbed my big toe. I'm upset and I want to crush some skulls because of it. They'll talk with you. Now, another thing that Veterans Insurance Network is going to do too is help raise up the awareness of veteran suicide. Some of you already know my story as far as that goes. 22 years ago, this past Christmas Eve, my brother Dennis, a Vietnam and Gulf War veteran, decided to take his own life. Ever since then, I've been advocating for better outlets, better resources, better everything to help our brothers and sisters who are so down that they think ending their life is the only way out. Well, got some news not too long ago. Got a message from an individual at the VA, Department of the VA, yes, in Washington, D.C., stating, hey, we appreciate everything that you've done to help raise awareness. We want to let you know that starting on January 17th, 2023, any veteran that feels like they are going to do some harm to themselves or to others can walk into any medical facility in this country and say, hey, look, I need help. and it's paid for. You do not need a consult from one doctor to get you in or anything like that. You just walk in and say, "Hey, look, I feel like I'm going to hurt myself. I need some help. I'm a veteran." That facility is not going to bill you at all. That's right. You heard me. If you are so down that you think you're going to hurt yourself or somebody else, take your ass to the closest ER and say, "Hey, look, I'm a veteran. I think I'm going to hurt myself or hurt somebody else. I need help." That facility they're going to take care of you, and they are not going to charge you at all. Now, I know a lot of you listen to President's speech on State of the Union, and he said that veteran suicide numbers are down to 17 a day from 22. I call bullshit. The VA has fudged numbers for so long that I can't, and a lot of people can't trust the numbers that they put out there. We believe it's even more than 22 now. So that's why I'm letting you know about that new rule the VA has, that you can walk into any medical facility and say, "Hey, I'm a veteran. I think I'm going to hurt myself or somebody else. I need help." And that treatment's free. That's right, FREE, free. So let's get the word out about that, people. Tell your fellow veterans, tell your family, tell everybody. This has to be a national movement. If we want to curb veteran suicide, we need to help each other. We need to say, "Hey, I'm here for you." But did you know if you go to this facility and you tell them you're a veteran and you're contemplating suicide, they will treat you for free. They will not turn you away. They will not bill you. So let's start getting the word out about that, people. So I know I've been long winded here. So let's kind of wrap this up tonight. Let me put that plaque up there about Veteran Assurance Network again. So if you want to donate to them, help veterans get the aid they need, help them advocate for veterans legislation, check our money order to Veterans Insurance Network, P.O. Box 159, Twinsburg, Ohio, 44087. These people are going to do a lot of good. All right. And I'll leave that up here as I wrap this up. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. If you're listening to this at a later date, hey, thank you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe so you can get more videos like this. And I promise, starting next week, it'll be a lot more fun. It'll be a lot more informative, a lot more educational, a lot more supportive. All right, people, this is Tim Hauser, the Gulf War Advocate, signing off, and see you next week.